Hello, beautiful people. Thank you so much for tuning in, watching, and listening. This is going to be the October 2022 reading for the zodiac sign of Gemini. Welcome, fellow Geminis. As always, my readings are very intuitive, so I'll provide you with any intuitive messages that I receive, of course, as well as the meaning of the tarot cards. I do recommend you check out your sun, moon, and rising just to get a full picture of everything that's going on for you this month. And if you haven't done so already, please do subscribe to my YouTube channel. When you subscribe, that helps me greatly, and you'll be notified when I post new content. With that being said, let's go and jump in and get started. And column number 1, we're going to take a look at what's wrapping up and coming to a close, the last few weeks or month. Column number 2, we're going to take a general look at October. We're going to do a money column, a love column, and in the 5th and final column, we're going to do a message from our future self or spirit guides. We're also going to do 3 yes or no questions, a crystal of the month, and a healing note for you, Gemini. But let's see here. Again, column number 1, what's wrapping up and coming to a close. We have the card Influence. Influence is one of the cards I really like. It's a good reminder of 2 things. It's a reminder of how much you actually have influence over, and to focus on the things that you have influence over. So twofold there. You can influence more than you know, Gemini. But let's take a look and see what we've got going on. The first card that we have is the Ace of Swords. Anytime we have an ace card, it's a card of newness. With the Ace of Swords, this is typically new idea or some sort of mental clarity. Perhaps clarity on what you do and do not have influence over. The next card that we have is the Eight of Pentacles. The Eight of Pentacles is a card of working hard, enjoying your employment, mastering your craft and whatever you're doing. It's also a card of working smarter, not harder. One thing I really like about the Eight of Pentacles, though, is like reaping the benefits of your hard work. So this hard work you've been putting in and been doing, Gemini, is going to be paying off. At the bottom here, we have the Nine of Swords. The Nine of Swords is a card of nightmare, anxiety, grief, depression. I'm not really sure what's going on. I personally have not been in a good headspace. I think the planetary alignment has been completely out of whack. I don't know if there's any one thing driving this. It's just like this feeling of not okay. However, the beautiful thing about this, Gemini, is this is what's wrapping up and coming to a close. It may not have been something that we have influence over, but again, since it's what's wrapping up and coming to a close, it's something we get to leave behind. So I really like to see that. There could be something driving this, but I feel like the majority of us, this is just a crappy feeling with no real reason behind it. But let's see, Gemini, what we've got in terms of clarifiers for this column. The first clarifier we have is the Two of Cups. The Two of Cups is very much so a love card typically. This is a romantic love, a card of partnership, proposal, marriage. The interesting thing about this, though, too, is this could be a new friendship. This could be a new business relationship. This could even be a new animal or pet for you. But there's some sort of quality, deep love, deep relationship that's been established these last few weeks, which is really neat to see. And it's again on top of that Ace of Swords. So again, that newness with the Ace of Swords. But potentially mental clarity coming from this, or clarity even of this relationship in and of itself. Let's take a look, though, moving on. Our next card that we have is the Six of the Six of Pentacles. The Six of Pentacles is a very generous card. It's a card of giving or receiving help. What I'm getting here is that your work has been quite generous lately, Gemini. You have been working nonstop. That could be leading to some of these low feelings too, or maybe some burnout associated with that Nine of Swords. But I just feel like you've been giving. However, again, the nice thing with the Eight of Pentacles is that hard work is going to be paying off. If it hasn't paid off already, it definitely will be for you. At the bottom here, we have the Hangman. The Hangman's a little bit of stagnant energy. This person's quite literally hanging there by their foot. And it's like needing more information, but more than anything, was saying that I feel like some of us have just been feeling junky and we don't know why we've been feeling junky. And this is kind of like hanging here, like, why? It's like that missing information. Again, though, this is what's wrapping up and coming to a close. So for those of you who have been feeling not so okay lately, Gemini, we get to move on from that, move into next month. Now let's take a look at just in general what's coming for October in column number 2. We have the card Preservation. I like preservation. This is a good reminder to be careful with your time. Be careful with your love. Be careful with your money. Be careful with your energy. Preserve your resources in a meaningful way. That doesn't mean shut off everyone and everything, but it's like a reminder to preserve those meaningful resources. Let's take a look though and see what messages we've got coming for the month of October. The first card that we have is the Hierophant. I love to see this here. So the Hierophant is a very traditional card. It's a very conventional card, but one of the meanings of the Hierophant is expectations. And when I see this is about exceeding expectations. So we are going to have a really positive October. October is going to exceed our expectations, anything that we have set in mind. So I like to see that. Of course, we're going to clarify, but that's the message that's coming through right now, is exceeding of expectations. The next card that we have is the Nine of Wands. The Nine of Wands is a card of keeping and maintaining boundaries, or in this case, really setting boundaries. So going back to preservation, I feel like you gave and gave and gave, and conveniently these cards are even side by side, Gemini. Too much giving happened last month, the last few weeks, whether it was work, whether it was friends. So again, taking that step back, making sure we're setting clean boundaries, clear boundaries. It's not completely shutting everything out. It's not like this person built a wall, but they built a fence and it's more of a filter. So focus on preservation this month. At the bottom here, we have the King of Cups. The King of Cups is very supportive, very tolerant, very empathetic. You can have preservation and again, not be completely shut off. You can have boundaries and not be completely shut off. So you can still be supportive. You can still be empathetic. But again, with this filter or this guard in between, it gives us some tolerance. It doesn't give us the opportunity to have a full burnout or be fully exposed. Let's clarify this column though and see what we're working with here. The first card that we have is the Lovers card. The Lovers card, of course, is a card of romantic love, partnership, proposal, marriage. Interesting message, but love life could absolutely be exceeding your expectations for the month of October. There could be a decision made too. Anytime we have 2 of something on a card, Gemini, it is an indicator of a decision. This Lovers card is also us in itself, given the twins with the Gemini. So it will still say generally exceeding expectations, but with a focus on love or focus on an outcome of a decision. The next card that we have is the Eight of Cups. The Eight of Cups is a card of withdrawing, retreating. Again, we do need to take a little bit of a step back and set these boundaries, so I'm not super surprised to see the Eight of Cups with that withdrawal and retreat. The interesting thing about the Eight of Cups too is if you look here, the Eight of Cups are stacked nicely, but yet this person is still walking away. And this is about going from good to better. So it's not like you're like being completely ran over or abused or anything of that sort, Gemini. But again, this is about leveling up and putting ourselves in a better situation. It's moving from that good to better. At the bottom here, we have the Death card. The Death card is a card, I like to clarify this doesn't mean death, Gemini. This is a card, though, of making changes. It's endings, it's beginnings, it's transformation. In general, this is a really good time to reset, to start to preserve ourselves, start to preserve our resources, set those boundaries, and allow us to exceed our expectations by setting those clear guidelines. And again, with the King of Cups, this is still about being supportive. This is still about being empathetic, but not being fully open to everything. So it's a good time to transition to this place of not being so open. Again, not closed off, but just preserved. Okay, Gemini, let's take a look at our next column, which is anything related to money. So think job, career, finances, businesses you run, investments you have, really whatever you associate with money. The first card that we have is the Six of Pentacles. The Six of Pentacles is a generous card. This is a card of giving or receiving. This is going both ways. I do think some of you are going to be on the receiving end of this generosity this month. Some of you, if you are not careful, Gemini, will end up on the giving side of this again, where you continue to give too much. So this is like you need to make a decision to not be over giving, not be over generous. It's not all about give. So keep that in mind. If you want to, you can, but I do feel like there is the opportunity here for you to be overworked if you're not careful. The next card that we have is the Six of Wands. The Six of Wands is a card of victory, award, recognition, good news, success. I do feel a project wrapping up and finalizing, so definitely some success there. Recognition, award. I do feel like you're going to be recognized, Gemini, because you did give so much. You've been working so hard. Hopefully, again, be on the receiving end of this Six of Pentacles, where you're receiving your recognition and receiving your reward for your successes. At the bottom here, we have the Justice card. The Justice card is a card of cause and effect, win-win solutions. It's like you've worked hard, so now you are being given this. This is also a great card in terms of legal matters, contracts, things of the court. The Justice is going to indicate a favorable outcome for you there. Let's take a look here, though. Do a little bit of clarifying. The first card that we have is the Four of Swords. The Four of Swords is a card of needing to rest, retreat, renew, recover. Again, you gave so much recently, Gemini. We were burnt out, and we weren't really sure why we were feeling burnt out. We were just working. So do keep that in mind. Again, we need to make a conscious decision to which side of the Six of Pentacles are we going to be on. Are we going to continue to be on the giving side, or are we going to take a step back, not overwork ourselves, and let ourselves be on the receiving side? But again, that kind of word of caution that we can have this burnout, this need to rest, retreat, renew, recover. We need a break after all that working, Gemini. The next card that we have is the Five of Wands. The Five of Wands is a card of obstacles. I like to call this small bumps in the road, because if you look at this card, they're not fighting with swords, they're fighting with wands. But this was not an easy won victory or award or recognition. Again, that goes back to that work that's been happening lately. Again, this was not an easy success, but the fact is that you're at the point of success now, so definitely enjoy it, Gemini. At the bottom, we have the Ten of Wands. The Ten of Wands is a card of stress, exhaustion, too many burdens. Again, I can't tell you enough to be cautious going into the month of October, or you are going to end up in this situation with this Ten of Wands, where you are feeling these burdens, you're feeling stressed, you're feeling exhausted. I always like to throw this out here too. Whenever I see the Ten of Wands, meditation is a really good pairing for this. So I do feel like meditation helps with this Ten of Wands type energy. So be careful to not overwork. That is my message, Gemini, for October. But let's take a look at our next column, which is anything related to love. So think family, friends, relationship, children, marriage, whatever you associate or whatever questions you have in terms of love, Gemini. The first card that we have is the Seven of Pentacles. The Seven of Pentacles is a card of patience, delayed success, waiting. If you look here, this person planted their pentacles and now they're waiting for them to grow. There's something you're waiting for in your love life currently. Of course, we're going to clarify this and see what more information we can get. But I feel like you're kind of in a waiting period. The next card that we have is the Sun card. In terms of good cards in the deck, it really doesn't get much better than the Sun card. This is a card of material happiness, joyous outcomes, success. So whether you're in an existing relationship, entering into a new relationship, wanting to be single, I do really see this sense of happiness and contentment and joy this month in terms of love. Even though there is something we're waiting for, it's not taking away from the happiness or the quality of this relationship or just your state of being in terms of love. At the bottom we have the Three of Swords. This is a card of heartbreak, divorce, loss, depression. But more than anything, Gemini, this is a card of healing. This is about pulling the sword from your own heart and doing some healing. So keep that in mind. Potentially you've been waiting for a time to do this healing. Let's clarify though and see what other messages I can give you here. The first card that we have is the Temperance card. The Temperance card is a card of balance and harmony. I think for many of you, almost all of you, Gemini, of course, not everything I can say can resonate with every single person, but you are waiting for balance and harmony. And I don't know that it's like love life that's out of whack. It's everything else that has been chaos and craziness and that work type energy. So what you're waiting for is this balance and harmony. The nice thing is of course it's coming for you when we see the Temperance card. This is also a card of moderation, which pairs really nicely with the Preservation card. The next card that we have is the King of Swords. The King of Swords is very intentional. It's very long-term. This happiness isn't going to be short-lived. This joy isn't going to be short-lived, which I like to see. This happiness is here to stay for you, Gemini. The next card that we have is the Seven of Cups. Anytime I see this card, it's a card of busyness. If you see there's like something different in every single cup, it's just lots going on. And in this case, I don't love to say this, but I'm going to say it, Gemini, is there's lots that needs to be healed from too. My best advice for you though is to like commit to healing one thing at a time. If you think of all of our trauma or all of our past bad relationships or everything that's bothering us, it's really overwhelming. And the Seven of Cups can be a card of lack of commitment. So it's like you need to commit to working on one thing at a time. Okay, now let's take a look at our fifth and final column, which is a message from our future self or spirit guides. We have the card Productivity. I love productivity. It means we're getting stuff done this month. Of course, we're getting stuff done. Could, of course, be an indicator of a busy month, so you need to really be careful on those boundaries this month, Gemini. But starting at the top here, we have the King of Pentacles. This is a card of being solid, practical, and wise. Truthfully, more than anything, this is about being solid, practical, and wise with your time. This is also a great investment card, so some of you could be getting into some new investments, and it is an indicator of a wise investment. So capitalize on that wise investment. The next card that we have is the Four of Cups. The Four of Cups is a card of feeling of apathy, a feeling of lack of fulfillment. If you let yourself get in this whirlwind of craziness, Gemini, you will be feeling not the best again this month. But focusing on this surprise gift, this fourth cup coming in here and being rewarded because you are due for reward. At the bottom here, we have the Emperor. The Emperor is a card of respect. I think this is about having respectful boundaries. This is also about long-term energy. So part of this is working hard now for long-term success. But let's take a look and see here. Clarify out this last column. We have the Nine of Cups, which is wishes coming true. Definitely, again, watch out for that investment. This investment does seem very important. It is something you want. This is, again, your wish coming true. The King of Pentacles, though, also being solid, practical, and wise. You do not have to overcompensate to have your wishes coming true. So work smarter, not harder, Gemini. The next card that we have is the King of Cups. The King of Cups is very supportive, very tolerant, very empathetic. You do need to be supportive of yourself. You need to have those clear boundaries this month. You can, again, be empathetic and supportive and tolerant, all within reason. And last but not least, we have the Four of Wands. I like this. This is, again, this finish line type energy. It's getting across the finish line. It's being successful. It's ending on a high note. It's wishes coming true. It's accomplishing the things you want. So definitely celebration and success coming in here. So again, the hard work and the productivity is paying off. Again, we're getting past the finish line, which hopefully will be an indicator of things slowing down for you as well, Gemini. That's the finish line of the craziness. You get to pass it. Now at this time, I'm going to give you the opportunity to ask 3 yes or no questions. We're going to use the Gypsy Witch fortune telling deck. If you don't have 3 questions in mind, you can pause the video and think of them really quick. But for question number 1, we have the 6 of Hearts. This is number 3 card. That's going to be a yes. Question number 2 is the 10 of Diamonds. This is number 8 card. That's going to be a no. And question number 3, we have the Jack of Clubs. This is number 45 card. That's going to be a yes. So yes, no, yes, Gemini. We're also going to pull a card from our Healing Stones deck, which is a crystal to keep with you through the month of October. You have Aventurine, which is good for meditation. It's funny I mentioned meditation to you. It's also good for introspective, inner and outer peace, and doing the right thing at the right time. Last but not least, we're going to pull a card from our Healing Notes deck. Gemini, your note says, love creates miracles, heals all wounds, and purifies all energies. Thank you so much for tuning in, watching, and listening. Please do like, comment, subscribe. Let me know how this video resonates with you. If you haven't subscribed yet, again, those subscriptions help me greatly and you'll be notified when I post new content. Also, I did include my Venmo in the comments box if you feel inclined to make a donation. But thank you so much, Gemini, and I hope you have a wonderful October.